Now, before anyone comments, I already know what you're thinking. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. I should have left a while ago. I know. But I didn't. I went through it so you guys don't. And it's definitely not something that I'm proud of. If anything, I have a lot of regrets being in one. But now that I'm out, I can tell you guys everything that I went through. And I have a lot to talk about. So grab a drink, grab a snack, get comfortable, because I'm going to let you guys know my experience working in a multi-level marketing scheme for 3 years. If you guys don't know what that is, it's similar to a pyramid scheme. You work with a client, you sell products, you get commission out of it. But the people above you, your managers, the broker, the client, they also make commission from your sale. So it all started in December of 2021. I got a text and an email for an interview. And the very first red flag that I should have noticed is that I never applied to this company. Later on, I did realize that nobody actually applied to the company. They actually contact you. Now, I'm usually one of those that does a lot of research before I get into anything. But at the time, I was working at Amazon and I just really wanted to leave and do something different. So I was like, why not? Let's go to the interview. I searched up the company and I did find like a website, but it was like very vague and there was like nothing on it other than sales and marketing, we're hiring, and the business email, phone number, and address. That was really it. But then later on, I also realized that they changed their names all the time, because if you did search it up, there would have been nothing but bad Reddit posts about it. But anyway, there were 3 interviews. First one was a Zoom interview. It was super quick, super short. It was like 10 minutes long. And they pretty much told me that it was a sales and marketing position. Mind you, I never had any sales or marketing experience. I literally worked at a warehouse. I worked at Zaxby's. I was hosting. I had more of like customer service and restaurant experience. So I was a little confused on why I got the interview. Second interview was in person. I actually got interviewed by my now roommate, who actually ended up leaving a few weeks after me. At the time, she was a CT working on building her team. If you guys see me like looking at my phone, I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything. But I'm gonna give you guys a little bit more information about the positions that they had. There were 4. They called it the management training program, and the whole point is to get to management within a year, which in the 3 years that I was there, I don't think I ever seen anyone do it within a year. Like, I went to a lot of promotions, and most of the people who did get to management, they've been there for like a couple years already. But anyway, 4 positions: account executive, corporate trainer, assistant manager, and manager. Sounds like great job titles, right? No, the titles didn't mean anything. Shit, you didn't even get a raise. I think the only thing that the titles were good for was to just have the title and to put it on your resume. Now, to break it down, account executive is pretty much entry level. That's what you are when you join the company. This is when you're learning sales. Now, corporate trainer, you're a little bit more experienced. You know sales. You can hit the minimum criteria that they want you to hit every week. Assistant manager, you built your team. You're running a team. They also open up like a savings account for you, which you never really get in the end. The whole point of the savings account is to save up to open an office. But if you decide to quit beforehand, manager takes all that money. So the way it kind of worked is like, let's say like when an AE or a CT makes a sale, the company gives the manager the 100% commission, and it gets split. So manager gets 50, the person who did the sale gets 50. Essentially, when you become an assistant manager, you kind of get 100%, but really you only get paid 50, and the other 50 goes to your savings to help you open up. I actually made it all the way to assistant manager, and I did have that savings account. Saved about $7,000 that I didn't get because I ended up quitting. But anyway, manager. So manager is, you have your own office. You can choose where you want to open up, whether you want to stay where you're at or if you want to go to a different city. You don't really get like a raise until you get to manager position. And that's when you pretty much get 50% of whatever your team makes. So whenever someone on your team makes a sale, you kind of make a sale as well, even though you were just sitting in your office doing absolutely nothing. You get paid for that. So I mentioned I made it all the way up to assistant manager. And just with that information alone, you already know I have a lot to talk about. I was an assistant manager for 2 years. So anyway, back to the interview. Company sounded great, sounded very successful. Obviously, that was the whole point. Went home, a couple hours later, I get a call that I got the job. I was excited, like anyone else would be when they get a call that they get a job. But then later on, I realized that they hired just anybody. So anybody that got the interview was hired. Not really feeling special anymore, right? So first day came, and I was in a room they called atmosphere. Now, atmosphere is just like this big room. There's no tables, there's no chairs. It's just an empty room with a bunch of whiteboards. This is where they ran workshops, team meetings, campaign. It was loud. They had their own sayings. One of the sayings that they used a lot was juice, which meant join us in creating excitement. Purpose of atmosphere is just like to get everybody hyped up to go to the field. And the field was our locations. Depending on what campaign you were working on, your locations will vary. The campaign that I was working on at the time, my locations were Family Dollars, low-income places, Dollar Generals, Dollar Tree, public housings, shelters. I didn't really know what I was doing until the first day when I find out that I was giving out free phones. I signed people up for the Lifeline program, and if they get qualified, they get a free phone with free service that they don't have to pay for. It doesn't sound real, and honestly, before I started working there, I didn't know that it was a thing, but it's actually legit. You could search it up. But first day, I was paired up with a trainer. The person that was supposed to train me was busy with another person that also started, so I was put with a trainer that I won't really say was a trainer. We got into the car. 30 minutes into the trip, that's when I asked her, where are we going? And she replied with Coco. I'm like, okay, cool, we're going to the beach. No, we were going to a Walmart. And mind you, this was like the weirdest car ride ever. I wouldn't say weird, but more like awkward, because she didn't really explain anything to me and like what we're doing. I know one time I was asking her like, do they pay for gas? She said no. Do they pay for mileage? She said no. Looking back, I probably should have been like a little bit more aware getting into a car with a stranger, but you know, it's all past now. And you know, driving a whole hour away, but I was just going with the flow. We get to the Walmart, we set up the table. She said she has to go to the bathroom. It's been like 20 minutes. I find out that she was actually outside having a smoke break, but you know, cool, whatever. People were coming up to the table. I was just standing there, didn't know what to do, wasn't told exactly how to qualify people. She gave me a tablet, but didn't give me the pin, so I couldn't even like figure it out myself if I wanted to. Yeah, and then the manager came and was like, you are not supposed to be here, you can't set up. And I'm just like, this is my first day, I don't really know what's going on, I'm waiting for my trainer. She said she's in the bathroom. So manager told me that he'll give me a couple minutes. Couple minutes came by, he came back, trainer still wasn't there, so I was like, you know what, let me just pack up all the stuff. Packed it up, and right when I finished packing, that's when she came, asked me what happened, told her what happened, and then she kind of just like brushed it off and was like, yeah, let's just go to the next one. We get to the next location, another Walmart, same thing happens, get kicked out, go to another spot, get kicked out. At this point, I'm like, okay, cool, well, this is a job. At least I'm getting paid. No, I was not getting paid at all. It was full-on commission. So if you don't make any sales, you don't make any sales. I came home with all these red flags already, and I don't know. I give a lot of second chances. Maybe sometimes too much. 3, 4, 5. Definitely too much. So I was like, you know what? Maybe it was just a bad day. Let's go again tomorrow. Second day came. It was better. I was learning, but still no sales. Third day came. This is when I actually started to get the hang of it. Started to make some sales. After the 5th day, I actually got promoted to corporate trainer. And I know some companies have like different types of like names for the positions, like titles, but they're all pretty much the same thing. They all go into that like 4 stages. But yeah, I got promoted in 5 days, did my little speech and whatever. Everything was going well. I was having fun. I was making money. We also had this thing called like crew nights and team nights every Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the whole point is like to network. But honestly, it was just like an excuse to get drinks and spend more money. They'd even do like business trips where you do the same thing but in a different city. Here's where more red flags came about. So I was actually filming a video at the time. I was filming the Trying Portillo's for the first time when they opened up. And I'm filming the video, did my little clips, I'm on my phone. I think I actually mentioned in that video that I got a job. I got a couple of comments asking if I still work at Amazon, and no, I do not anymore. I'm working at a new place now, and so far I like it better. There was this girl that got hired the same day as me, and we went through training together. She sends this link and it says Devil's Corp. So I opened it, and a lot of things that were on there aligned with everything that the company is doing. So I started to get a little sketched out. We went to the outlets after that, and the whole time I was just scrolling, looking for anything that would let me know that this company that I'm working with is one of those companies. I had doubts, so I texted my leader. She called me and, just trying to calm me down and talk me out of it. So I ended up staying, and I really didn't care at the time because I was making money, so it was whatever. I was actually making good money at the time, like way more than minimum wage. So a couple months, everything was going good. I started building a team. I ended up hitting assistant manager. Not gonna lie, I was good. Like, I was really good. I was building a lot of really good teams. I had the best relationships with my teams. I would literally hire somebody and be like, yeah, there's a business trip tomorrow. They'll go. Ran great production. Made a lot of money for my manager. It was good until about like a year and a half later when production ended up going down. The free phones weren't really making me or anybody else money anymore. I started struggling for months. This is where I realized that everybody was also starting to quit, but I didn't really question it at the time. I was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe they just got a better offer, and the managers would also tell us that they did to cover the fact that they just weren't making money. So fast forward a little bit, they ended up switching to another company. It was good. It started to die down again. It was kind of just like a cycle of switching, getting saturated, switching, getting saturated. So you make like really good money in the beginning, but then slowly it starts to dive down. It was so bad that like once things starts to die down, we would constantly do business trips to places that people never been to. So we would drive and do the same exact thing. And what sucks is like we would use our personal car, and they didn't pay mileage. You can't even put it on your tax because they paid us W-2. They would pay for gas, and then sometimes I do gotta like fight for my gas money too because they would always forget to put it in my paycheck. Slept on many couches, and now that I look back at it, I definitely deserved every single bed. And I say that because I was the assistant manager. I was running the whole entire thing. 12-hour days, 6 days a week. I got to prepare everything for the day. break down everything at night, scan everything out. It was just a lot of work for a position that didn't really pay me more than a corporate trainer. We were taught to like give the new people the beds to keep them comfortable, but at this point, no, I deserve that bed. These business trips were also the reason why my car's mileage was very high. I never really spoke about the job because part of me was just like embarrassed to talk about it. Racked up 172,000 miles on my Corolla until issues started to come up, and now I have the Civic. Now, fast forward to 2024. That was the year that everything went downhill. I was making as low as $200 a week. I couldn't afford rent. I couldn't afford my insurance. Sometimes couldn't even afford food. Only a couple people knew about this, but I had $15,000 in my savings before I started, and it was actually for a down payment to eventually buy a house. But I had to use it to pay rent. Like, I wasn't trying to be homeless. I wasn't trying to get kicked out. I had to pay my bills, so I didn't have a choice. I used my savings. And then when my savings ran out, I had to start using my credit cards. I stopped going to college. I stopped making YouTube videos, which it really pissed me off because at the time my channel was actually growing and it was something that I love to do. I had to end some friendships because I just didn't have the time anymore. In the back of my mind, I knew like I shouldn't be there anymore, and it was like really affecting me more than it's improving. But I feel like I was just like so brainwashed to think, oh, just be hopeful. Oh, it will all be like worth it in the end, because that's what they always would say. I think one of the things that really got me was like the relationships that I built in that company too. Like they always had this family mindset. Now that I quit, not one of them even contacted me, except for the people on my team. I have a lot of stories that I could tell you guys, but the one thing that came up was our business trip to Oklahoma, because it just pissed me off so much. One time we were advertised to stay 1 month in Oklahoma to make $1,000 a week. It was kind of like a joint business trip because there was other offices that joined us and we were pretty much all in the same situation. We weren't making money, so we all decided to go because we needed it. Again, had to drive my personal car 17 hours to Oklahoma. And no, we were not staying in an Airbnb. We were staying at a house rental, which didn't have furniture. You guys, we were sleeping on an air mattress. No Wi-Fi, no beds, no fridge. We were eating like sandwiches almost every single day because we just couldn't afford food. We were literally using coolers as our fridge, and if we even had like leftovers for food, we couldn't even put it in the cooler because once the ice melts, it starts to get into the boxes. So it would just like drown it. This was my biggest regret ever. I still think of it almost every single day and how much that pissed me off. It sounds bad, but like I'm not even done yet. Like I'm just getting started. It just gets worse. We were staying in Oklahoma City, and when we get there, we find out that we can only do tribal lands. Tribal lands were a minimum 2 hours away. I came home with a $250 bill for tolls that I only used a week and a half because I realized how much the tolls were over there. To top it off, there was 10 of us in that house, and it was a 4-bedroom, so everybody had a roommate, and 2 guys were sleeping in the living room. One of the managers, mind you, manager, who you think would be making a lot of money, right? No. He rented a car, drove to Oklahoma City, returned the car, and had us pick up and drop off their guys squeezing into a car. Which, I don't mind picking people up, dropping people off, but like 2 hours driving, like at least give me some gas money. By the way, I was the only one paying for the gas money. And oh my god, I had Charlie. We had to bring the pets because we couldn't leave them for a month. But I felt so bad, like, thinking about it to this day. If you guys don't know who Charlie is, Charlie's my dog. At the time, he was only a few months old, so he was still training. When I tell you, Charlie does not use the bathroom in his cage. He never, ever, 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 ever uses the bathroom in the cage because he knows that that's his personal space, you know, that's his spot. He was in the cage for over 12 hours almost every day. He constantly went in his cage almost every day. This was a schedule, right? 6 a.m., get up, drive 2 hours to Tulsa, drop a full car of people to their locations, which were like 10-15 minutes away from each other, stay there till 6, go and pick everybody else up, drive 2 hours back. We weren't getting home until like 9-10 p.m. most times. It was tiring, especially like for me. Like, I had to drive that every day on top of the 17 hours that I already drove over there to only make like $400 to $600 a week. It just wasn't worth it. Like, I wanted to go home in the first week. But anyway, came back from the trip and I was told that we were going to be switching out to a different campaign and that it's going to be so good, so much money involved. I did it for like a month until I realized how sketchy it was. It was free windshields. And I know, state of Florida, you get that free windshields, but it's not every single time. It's like once. And then after that, your premium goes up. I just wasn't for that. I don't like to lie to people. I don't want to put people in worse situations. I'm just not that type of person. I spoke to the managers about why I felt the way that I did, and they pretty much told me that it's legit and other people are making money and maybe you just need to talk to other people on how to make more money, and like which was like besides the point because I could make the money if I want to. Now, do I think it's ethical? No. It just came to the point where like I started showing up twice a week and just Uber the other times because I needed to make more money. I was literally making more money Ubering than actually doing the job. Mind you, I was a manager, so I had access to payroll and I knew what everybody was getting paid. I used all of the logical things to let the managers know that this just isn't working. And when I tell you guys, 75% of the people were making $100 to $200 a week, I was struggling. Like, I wasn't even living paycheck to paycheck anymore. I just simply couldn't afford anything. Every week for about 2 months, my paycheck was $115. And if you guys think I'm joking, here's a screenshot of how much I got paid at the time. And everybody that knows me knows that I'm like really good with finances. They know my credit score. I was literally like 10 points away from an 800 credit score. But I didn't have a choice. It started going down. It started tanking. I was just so upset with myself and how much I lost. Like, I was upset about all the opportunities that I missed. Upset about how long I stayed. Upset about like how much different my life would be right now if I just left a while ago. So 2025 was when I decided I needed a change. I finally quit the job. And it was the best decision I've ever made. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to just talk bad about the company, even though there was definitely more cons than pros. But there's also a lot that I learned, and I definitely grew from being there for 3 years. Lots of great friendships, travel a lot, helped me with my communication and management skills. I don't want to completely like knock the business down because there's some businesses that actually do work that are like this and they're successful. But this is more of like, keep your eyes open. But that's it for my little story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If there's any questions that you guys have or some things that you want me to talk about, let me know down in the description because I have so much more that I could talk about, but I don't want to be talking on here for hours. And I already know someone's probably going to ask, what am I doing right now? I did get another job. I'm very happy where I am. I'm making more than I need. Slowly but surely paying off my debts, which I'm very happy about. This next year is kind of just like making up for what I lost the previous year. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye guys.